Welcome to Pete and Hannah's Watchlist. I'm your host, Pete Mitchell. I'm here with my great co-host, Hannah.
Hello, people.
Hannah, we're here today for AFI Top 100 10-Year Revisited. But before we begin, let us tell the viewers and the listeners what they should do.
Could you pretty please leave a like and subscribe to our channel?
Subscribe.
Leave a comment down below your feedback on the show, thoughts, feelings, comments, queries, all that jazz in our comments below.
Hit the notification button and you'll get great content like this one, including What's Next, the show where we help you figure out what to watch next. We did a little show called...
The Dinosaur Talk.
Yeah, it's all about dinosaurs. Jurassic
Yeah.
Park or Rebirth.
World.
Did I say... Oh, damn it.
You do it every time.
I do it every time. So it's Jurassic World. Tomorrow we've got movie news. And then Friday we've got the mailbag. You can get us to the mailbag at Pete and Hannah's Watchlist at gmail.com. Let's get onto this show. It's a big show today. It's movie number 20. All these ones are bangers now. Even better than that sometimes. All-time classics.
That's true.
And today's movie is no exception. It is movie number 20 of the AFI Top 100 10-Year Revisited. And It's a Wonderful Life.
Truly.
Hannah, have you seen this one before?
Yes.
Yes, we both have. Where do we watch it? We own it on DVD. You can also watch it on Stan. And you can also watch it, I think, in the States on Amazon Prime, Apple.
Couple, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of streaming services.
It is probably one of the easily available movies on this list.
Yeah, it is.
Hannah. Yes.
This movie, The Elevator Pitch. On Christmas Eve 1945 in Bedford Falls, New York, George Bailey contemplates suicide. The prayers of his families and friends reach heaven where a guardian angel, second-class Clarence Adobe, is assigned to save George in order to earn his wings. So he is seeing George's life and he's seeing the different elements that make up George Bailey's life.
George Bailey.
Okay, this movie is directed by Frank Capra. We've had him on the list
Multiple times,
yeah. It happened one night. Also, Miss Smith Goes Washington. Screenplay, Francis Godrich, Albert Hackett. Additional scenes by Frank Capra and Joe Swirling. This is based on a story by Philip Van Doren Stern. It's produced by Frank Capra himself. Cinematography was Joseph Walker, Joseph Biroc. Edited by William Hornbeck. Music by Dmitry Timogin. The production company was Frank Capra's Liberty Films. And it was distributed by RKO Pictures. Hannah.
Yes.
This movie was released on December 20th, 1946, and it went wide on January 7th, 1947. It has a running time of 131 minutes, and the budget was 3.8, and the box office was only 3.3 million, so it was a disaster when it came to box office.
Yes.
It was only the 25th highest grossing movie of the year 1946. It was one behind A Miracle on 34th Street. Both were
the original.
Both were commercial success, failures.
Yes, but then become Christmas classics.
Sure.
In a weird way.
In your opinion. This movie does not take place on Christmas Day.
No, I personally, my opinion of this movie, I wouldn't call it a Christmas movie. You could watch this any time of the year.
That's true.
Where Miracle on 34th Street is 100% a Christmas movie. 100%.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Movie about Santa Claus. Okay, Hen. 1946 grossing movies. Okay, Till the Clouds Roll By.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Yearling. Notorious. Night and Day. Not Your Night and Day.
No, I know.
The Razor's Edge.
I actually know that other version.
Saratoga Trunk. Blue Skies. The Jolson Story.
Oh,
Mr. Parks is in that one. The Best Years of Our Lives. We've had that on the list before.
that was on the list, yeah.
The William Wyler movie. And Jewel in the Sun. Selznick International. That was the highest grossing movie
It's
of
weird.
1946.
A lot of those movies were biopics.
Yeah. It was the comic book movie of its time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some people that are in this movie. James Stewart as George Bailey. We've had him on the list already. Miss Smith Goes Washington. Philadelphia Story. Also, Rear Window.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
He plays George Bailey. During this filming, he didn't want to do this movie. Lionel Barrymore talked him into it. And the reason why was because he was actively suffering PTSD
From
and
the war.
depression from World War II. Mm-hmm. Stewart told his friends that he actually related to George Bailey, and some of the scenes where he acted in anger was cathartic. And his struggles with mental health went throughout his whole entire life after the war. Stewart's acting became notably darker after the war, and the roles that he chose were more serious.
Yeah,
than,
reflected
less
that.
comedy than before the war. He had actively killed civilians and saw people that he were very close to die in front of him.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why. A legend. He is, I would probably say he had the acting chops of Al Pacino and George and Robert De Niro, but the popularity of Harrison Ford.
I would say the popularity of Tom Hanks as well.
I would say no. Tom Hanks, if you look at through his filmography, Tom Hanks has a lot of periods where he doesn't make any popular films whatsoever. Harrison Ford's always made popular films,
Yeah.
just like Jimmy Stewart. Even Jimmy Stewart,
Really?
Jimmy Stewart's not popular movies turn out to be popular movies. So
I'm thinking
Tom
about
Hanks,
it. Yeah. Tom
So,
Hanks, when he made bad movies, they were bad.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but
you're
I
right.
will say this, but he straddles that line between a great actor and
That some people would.
a popcorn actor.
Yeah.
He's got both.
And that's what Harrison Ford also.
Yeah, well, Harrison Ford, I wouldn't say that has the acting chops of Jimmy Stewart,
No.
but he has the gravitas of Jimmy Stewart for sure.
Yeah.
But I would say definitely, like he's right up there with Al Pacino.
Jimmy Stewart is one of my favorite. Yeah.
Oh,
I
for
love
me,
him
my
so much.
Mount Rushmore of actors, is Jimmy Stewart,
Yeah.
Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson,
Yeah, of course.
and Leonardo DiCaprio. They're my four.
I'd probably bump the last one, but
No.
yeah.
I know you're not a fan of him, but he is fantastic as a modern day actor. Out of all the modern day actors, I could probably kick him off and add. If Timothée Chalamet keeps doing what he's doing, I could probably put Timothée Chalamet on there. But those three, they're my top three.
Yeah,
of all time.
the first three, I could feel something. Yeah, I understood.
Donna Reed played Mary Hatch. Now,
Yeah.
Donna, she ended up winning an Academy Award for From Here to Eternity. It's funny that she won it for that role because she was an ardent conservative, like a staunch Republican. Ended up campaigning for Barry Goldwater, who was like really right. And she ended up winning an Academy Award for playing a prostitute.
Yeah, from here to
She also
eternity.
played like a house mum in the Donny Reed show.
Yeah.
So, Courtship of Andy
Strange.
Hardy. Yeah.
Strange. Sometimes actors, they'll take roles that you're like, that doesn't even...
Yeah, even this role, role was...
I guess because you're saying it toes a line between being very... What?
Well, this movie was heavily criticised for being anti-capitalist and pro-communist.
I feel
Capra gets this a lot, but
in his
Capra
movies, yeah.
Capra was...
he's always...
was very Americana.
He gives like... He is always, in both this and Miss Smith Goes to Washington, it's that David Goliath story, more so the constant... battle between communists and capitalists. It's more so much the little man fighting the big conglomerate every time.
Yep. Lionel Barrymore played Mr. Potter. Now, Lionel Barrymore, he was in another Frank Capra movie, You Can't Take It With You. And he was in Key Largo on Barrow Time. Lionel Barrymore was sick and he ended up in a wheelchair, so he only took roles that he could be in a wheelchair.
And he was in this movie.
So, from the famous Barrymore family, Lionel Barrymore created the boom mic.
Oh.
He was a director. He was a
knew
vaudevillian.
The Barrymore name
Yeah,
carries
huge.
such weight.
So he's a great uncle of Drew Barrymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know how much weight it carries? They even reference the name Barrymore in Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
That's how much.
100%, because he's like a stage guru as well.
Yep.
Another thing is him and his sister, Ethel,
Yep.
only two brother and sisters to win Academy Awards. That'd be like me and you winning an Academy Award one day. It's not out of the question.
Not okay, but yes.
I haven't given up hope on us winning an Academy Award.
You know what? They give them away, and two,
Oh,
they
no, Hannah, we're going to earn it. We're going to earn it. I haven't given up hope.
you're like, we'll earn it. We'll earn it.
Yeah.
It's a makeup. It's a makeup.
No, we're going to win, Martin, I reckon.
Okay.
I reckon. I don't know, we'll produce a movie or we'll do something. But, yeah,
A short
I haven't given
film.
up. No, I haven't given up.
That's an easy one to get.
It's no easy Academy Awards, boo. The next person is Thomas Mitchell. No relation.
Yeah, no relation.
Thank God. I don't like him in this movie. He's Uncle Billy. He's been seen him on the list before. We saw him in the Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yep.
And we were going to see him one more time with Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, who plays another character I absolutely dislike as well.
Henry Travers, who plays Clarence the Angel, he was in The Invisible Man. He's also in a movie called Shadow of Doubt. I've seen that movie. It's actually quite good. Frank Capra. So, as we've said before, Miss Smith Goes Washington. You can't take that with you. It Happened One Night on this list as well. One of our favourites. And he also produced this movie. Francis Godrich, he wrote Seven Brides of Seven Brothers. One of your favourites.
Which is one of the best movies.
He also wrote Easter Parade.
Again.
Yeah, so a huge Francis Godrich fan for you.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie makes a lot of sense.
Joseph F. Proyock, he was filmed cinematographer for The Towering Inferno, and he also did Flying High. So. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Joseph Walker was a long-term collaborator with Frank Capra. He did You Can't Take It With You. He also did Mr. Smith Goes Washington. He also did He's Got Friday, which is one of the great rom-coms of all time. William Horbeck, the editor, he was famous for The Giant, Shane, which we've had on this list, and A Place in the Sun. And Dmitry Chokin, we've had him recently. He was the guy that looked after the music for High Noon, and we said that was some great music.
And we love that music.
Guns of Navarone, Dial M for Murder, and Giant. Giant is one of the best.
Same as I love the music here too.
Okay, let's go through how this movie was made. So in his autobiography, and a lot of the research I got from this was from the autobiography, and there's also a commentary on the DVD, and so we've got some great quotes and stuff like that. So in his autobiography, Capra recalled, of all the actors, I believe the most difficult is the role of Good Sam, who doesn't know what he is Good Sam. I knew only one man that could play that, and that was James Stewart. Now, we're going to refer to him as James Stewart from now on because Jimmy...
Yeah, that he gets called Jimmy.
James hated being called Jimmy, so let's call him James.
Really? Yeah. I did not know that.
He spoke to his agent at the time, and he told him, I wanted him for the story. And he said, I don't really want him for that story. And they've worked together on Mrs. Smith Goes Washington, and You Can't Take That With You. And he said that, if I can't have him, it'll be Henry, which is Jimmy Stewart's best friend, James Stewart's best friend.
Yeah.
Ford was, however, casting My Darling Clementine. So he said to James, you need to do this movie. Lionel Barrymore ended up talking James into doing the movie. He said, you're perfect for this role. It'll be really good for you to get out of your head because of the PTSD that you're struggling with.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
The first person that was offered the Mary role was Jean Arthur because they'd worked together on You Can't Take It With You. Also, Mr. and Smith Goes to Washington. And they had great chemistry. But she had just started on the Broadway show Born Yesterday, and she was exhausted. And so Capra went to Olivia de Havilland, Martha Scott, Ginger Rogers, before getting Donna Reed from MGM. Rogers turned it down because she thought it was too bland, but in her autobiography, she questioned her decision.
Yeah.
Saying, foolish.
I don't think she would have been... It would be such a different role for her to take, Ginger Rogers, to see it like that.
She would have been great in it, though.
I think she would have been great.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Donna Reed does bring a...
Oh, she's great in it, so there's nothing wrong with Donna Reed. The original story, The original story was The Greatest Gift, which was written by Philip Von Doren Stern. Like this has a lot of Ebenezer Scrooge about it as well.
Yes, so it gives Christmas Carol vibes, yes.
So in 1939, he was rejected from several publishers. He had it printed in a 24-page pamphlet and mailed it to 200 family members for Christmas. The story came to the attention of Cary Grant of RKO at the time. He was contracted to RKO. RKO said, yeah, let's do it. Bought the rights for $10,000, and they really hoped that it would be another starring vehicle for Cary Grant. So in the original, George's last name was actually Pratt, not Bailey. The story begins with George on the bridge talking about suicide. Clarence then appears on the bridge and doesn't dive into water, and then starts to show George his life and Mary is married. The building alone went bust for $50,000, not $8,000. So there's a lot of differences here.
Yeah.
Mary had 2 kids. So the mother and father were split up, but they were still both alive. So it was a completely different short story. The RKO studio chief Charles Cromer urged Frank Capra to read The Great Escape. Capra's new production company, Liberty Films, had a 9-film distribution agreement with RKO, and he immediately saw it as a potential and wanted it for its first Hollywood film after making documentaries and training films during the war. RKO sold the rights to Capra and threw in 3 earlier scripts for free. Capra claimed the rights of the scripts cost him $50,000, which is not true. Capra salvaged a few of the scenes from the earlier scripts and worked with writers Francis Goodrich, Albert Hackett, Joe Swirling, Michael Wilson, and Dorothy Parker to polish the script on many drafts of the screenplay. The writing credits have been disputed for this movie many times, and the final screenplay was renamed by Capra. It's a Wonderful Life was credited to Goodrich, Hackett, and Capra, with additional scenes to Joe Swirling. The Screen Writers Guild committee decided that Hackett and Goodrich should get the credit for writing. Joe Shirley hasn't talked to me since. That was 5 years ago, Capra said.
Yeah. I guess it's just percentage of how much each person did.
Yeah.
And they're just, it's sad. It's what happens.
It's Wonderful Life was shot at RKO Pictures Studios in Culver City, California. On their ranch, they built a full town on that. It covered 4 acres. Capra added tree-lined center parkway, built a walking bank set, had pigeons, dogs, gave the town a full lived-in feel.
Yeah. The pigeons and dogs.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Let's talk about what the critics said about this movie at the time. Bosley Crowther, who we've had many times on this list, he was writing for the New York Times. He complimented some of the actors, including Stewart and Reed, but concluded the weakness of this picture, from the reviewer's point of view, is the sentimentality, the concept of life. Mr. Capra's nice, people are charming, his town is quiet, beguiling place, and his pattern for solving problems is optimistic and facile. But somehow they all resemble theatrical attitudes rather than average realities. Writing in The Nation, James agreed, saying Frank Capra's first film since being in the army is one of the most efficient, sentimental pieces since A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Often in its pole-driving emotional exuberance, it outrages, it insults, at least at cost without introduction, the cooler and more reasonable parts of the mind. It is nevertheless recommended. You know, a lot of people credit this movie creating the multiverse.
Because of the what if scenario?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was Christmas Carol personally, but anyway.
Well, Christmas Carol doesn't. It has the what if future scenario, but
so what if?
Not the what if I was never born scenario.
Yeah, it's just a different, but the what if was definitely in it.
They're looking towards the future.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh, I understand that.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, look, let's just. We haven't really talked about it so far on this episode.
Yeah.
But get ready, guys. We're going to have an absolute freaking barn.
We have
There's a
very
couple of
different opinions
on this movie. It's huge, okay? So just be aware. Academy Awards. It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for James Stewart, Best Film Editing for William Hornback, and Best Sound Record.
Amazing.
Did not win.
Well, that was the same year as...
Same as Best Years of Their Lives. Why not swept them?
You know how. You know what.
Well, it was a good movie.
Best Years I understand, like, the sentiment, because...
It had 8 wins. Freddie Marks.
Yeah.
As actor in a supporting role, Howard Marshall. He had a limb lopped off.
That film preys on the fact that this is, like, after the war.
Yeah.
And that film very much...
Do you know who deserved to win an Academy Award here? The editor.
The editing for this movie is incredible.
Great. William Hornback did a great job. Best Years of the Life's one editing. I don't think that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The fact that they managed, like, this film, yeah. Anyway, but I still think it's crazy because this movie's is a lot higher than Best Years of the Lives is on this list.
Okay.
It is significantly higher, and it's crazy. I probably would have switched a lot.
Reaction to this film recently: Rotten Tomatoes 94.
Yeah.
Letterboxd 4.4. IMDb 8.6. What's been written about it recently? 1990, It's a Wonderful Life was redeemed. It was deemed culturally and historically, aesthetically significant by the United States Library of Congress and selected for the preservation in the National Film Registry. In 2002, Channel 4 in the United Kingdom ranked It's a Wonderful Life as the 7th greatest movie ever made in its 100 greatest films. The channel airs every Christmas Eve. It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
In 2008, the AFI revealed the top 10 best classic American film genres after polling 1,500 people. It's Wonderful Life was acknowledged as the 3rd best in the fantasy genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like how he did the movie with the bunny, like the Harvey movie.
Yeah.
Like, it is a fantasy.
In 2010, Richard Cohen described It's a Wonderful Life, the most terrifying Hollywood film ever made. In Pottersville sequence, he wrote, George Bailey's not seeing the world as if that it exists, he was never born, rather than the world as it does exist. In its time is our own time. 9 years earlier, song writer Gary Coleman had expressed the opposing view that Pottersville rocks. Man, that's a take. Yeah, that's a take.
I love this. I love. He just loves the idea of Las Vegas in a small town.
Yeah,
basically.
Okay, the rights to this movie has changed hands many times. So Liberty Films was purchased by Paramount Pictures and remained a subsidiary until 1951. In 1955, Alexander purchased the movie. This included the key rights to television syndication. The original film elements, the music, the score, the rights of the film was based on The Greatest Gift, therefore after. But despite this, the copyright lapsed and television stations were allowed to air it. They had still had to pay some royalties, but it was mainly to the royalties of the derivative work of the published story The Greatest Gift, to the copyright of which Philip Van Stern still had it renewed in 1971. So this became a perennial holiday classic. Actually got played multiple times on Christmas Day by film studios, and that's why television stations. That's why this movie became so popular.
Yeah.
It ended up getting a Copyright Term Extension Act of 1998. So Republic Pictures relied upon the Supreme Court ruling of Stewart versus Abend, which involved another Stewart film, Rear Window, to reinforce its claim of copyright. While the film's copyright had not been renewed, Republic still owned the film rights because of The Greatest Gift. So it all goes back to the story. So that year, Republic made a deal with the Turning Broadcasting System, authorising only 3 airings of the movie, all on its cable, TNT and TBS. However, the studio's attempt to research control was widely ignored because there were still distribution deals that Republic had to honour. In 1994, the studio sold exclusive rights to NBC, and Warren Littlefield broadcast it in the original black and white because It was one of the first movies to be colorized. In
Oh.
1980s, actually, James Stewart went to Congress and said he called it the neutering of It's a Wonderful Life. If these color happy folks are so concerned about the audience, let them put the $1 million into new films or remake the old stories. But let our great film artists and films live in peace. I urge everyone in the creative community to join in our efforts to discover this terrible process.
He didn't like.
Colorization, hated it.
You know what? Right. I don't love. He was like, let's just remake it. But I also don't love. Because I watch a lot of these old movies, and sometimes you struggle to find a copy, or you're trying to watch it on TV, and it'll be the colored version, and they always look a little off. They don't look right, and it's just. It's because what you're finding is that more modern audiences don't like watching things in black and white.
Yep.
They actually can't. They can't look at it as if color.
Because it sucks.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, it actually gives more depth.
No, I'm saying it sucks in color.
It does. I've watched it in color.
The original
It sucks.
director did not have anything to do with the colorization.
Yeah.
And that is really a key. The director oversees the project. And if he wanted to make it in color, he would have made it in color.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. Because at the time, those tools were available, even though they were a lot more pricier. But, yeah, I just... it's just sad that people, the attention span dips so much when people are like, I can't watch that. It's in black and white.
Speaking of another thing that's ruining movies, last week on Thursday's episode of Movie News, we did a segment called Hot Take, Clickbait.
Hoo-ha.
And Hannah's hot take was cameos are killing movies, just like colorization was killing movies back in the 80s and 90s. Hannah, your hot take for this movie is?
My hot take for this movie is that it's not so much a hot take, it's more so like this is one of those movies and ideas and concepts of this movies that is so well done and executed that I love the fact I hadn't seen this movie for most of my life. I only saw this movie probably 2 or 3 years ago. I'd never seen it because the only time I knew about this movie was because every TV show I've ever watched and every other movie have talked about this film.
Definitely.
And I've watched this other movies and shows do the episode where it's like, what if I never existed? And it's like the character living its life.
Definitely.
And it's great. But when I finally sat down to watch this movie, most of this movie doesn't even take place during Christmas, which is a bit of a shock to me when I first time I watched this. Yeah. And I'm like, why do we only play this during Christmas? It should be played yearly round because I think it's just one of the best stories of all time. Yeah. And it gets shoved just in Christmas. Yeah. And I think it's one of the best blueprints to great episodes of TV. It's just these. It just
it's a definite rip off of Christmas Carol.
You go, it's a rip off. Yeah, you go, it's a rip off. It's better than Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol focuses.
This movie was done better by Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. Sorry, Matthew McConaughey and American Douglas.
You're like, let's just bring up other movies. Spirited,
Scrooge. No, great movies.
I don't think sort of Christmas Carol works. You have the bad guy and you find out his past. You find what he's done wrong right now, and then his future.
I'm not disagreeing with you. This movie is well made.
This one is
Frank Capra is cooking in this movie.
But the story in this just hits better because it's the what if scenario. No one contemplates that. Yeah. Nowadays, it's all the time. But, no one contemplates, if I just went around one day, what happens? And it's really interesting.
Okay, babes.
This movie does it. And it's a blueprint. I think it's one of the best. It's one of the best.
We get it. You like this movie.
I'm just saying it's one of the best blueprints in cinema.
Here is a contrary view of this movie.
One of the best.
Here is a contrary view of this movie.
We're going to go. What is your clickbait, Peter?
Exactly, Hannah. This is my hot take.
Go.
My hot take is everyone says Potter is the most evil person in this movie. I say it's George Bailey. Hear me out. George Bailey, cries about all the decisions that he's made to help people out. He decided to jump in the river to save his brother. Okay, he lost his hearing. Whoop-de-doo. he helped the guy out and got hit in the ear and it made his hearing worse. Whoop-de-doo. He stayed around to help his father save money. He could have gone off, His father passed away. Okay, that's a bad break. But he decided to stay and help the family out. Again, he could have gone to college, but he decided to stay and run the business because he wanted to stick it up Potter. This Potter's guy's evil. He was gonna get out of that business. He kept saying, I want out. He decided to stay. And then he kept every chance he had to get out. He got opportunities for business deals, got opportunities for other jobs. He kept saying no. So, babes, stop complaining, and you've chosen your life, and you've got a lovely wife, you've got a nice family, you have a wonderful life. I'm glad the angel came in and slapped him around and told him, put him in the water to just wake him up because he's got a great life. Therefore, George Bailey, evil character. That's my hot take.
And you're wrong.
Okay, well, let's talk about the movie. Yeah. Let's go into Pete and Hannah's review, and let's go to scene breakdown, and it's brought to you by Hannah.
You don't want to go into depth about why you're incredibly wrong?
Hannah, we are 30 minutes into the thing. We haven't even started scene breakdown.
Anyway, all right, so let's start.
Yep.
Basically, you get the beautiful Christmas credits play and Buffalo Girls plays in tune. Love it.
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of Hark the Herald Angels Sing
the
at
bit
the start
at the end.
Or is that the end?
At the end of the
there's a little bit of the bells singing at the start.
Yeah, but it's
the bells for the
it goes
angels.
into Buffalo Girls because it's the...
Yeah, it's the song. Yeah,
thank you. We're welcome to Bedford Falls while they're voice snippets praying for George to help George.
Yeah.
You're just hearing all these...
But you're also hearing the angels talk over the...
You want to do the same?
No, I'm just saying the angels are talking over prayers.
I know. It happens after. The angels discuss sending Clarence, who is waiting to get his wings.
Yeah.
They begin to tell the tale of George.
Yeah.
Starting when he was 12 and how he saved his little brother from a frozen lake.
Yeah. Mate, I don't know why you complain.
He doesn't complain. What is wrong with you? He never complains about his ear.
He does.
He doesn't.
Constantly, I can't hear out of the ear.
Because everyone in town knows.
Babes, we saved your brother.
Unfortunately, George loses hearing in one of his ears.
We know.
Cold.
The left.
He goes back to working at the pharmacy with Mr. Gower.
Yeah.
And Mary is there and she, whispers, young Mary whispers into George's
She's testing
hearing
him out.
Her undying love because she loves this kid.
Yeah. She's a little cute little kid.
She's cute. But after reading a telegram, George goes and checks on Mr. Gower.
So his son has died of influenza. Now, this movie came out in 1946.
That happened.
Set in the 1930s. So 20 years before.
It's
20 years before.
Because we get the
depression. So it's probably the Spanish flu in 1919.
So George, he checks on Mr. Gower, who actually accidentally puts poison in one of the tablets.
Yeah.
And it's so George races to meet his dad because something's up and he needs.
He's trying to get advice from his dad.
Yeah. And he goes to the building alone.
Yep.
His dad and Mr. Potter are having a back and forth argument.
Yeah. Stupid Billy's outside. God damn
Billy
it.
sucks. George...
Mate, we're going to go into Billy.
George stands up for his father, and then so now Mr. Gower... when he goes back to Mr. Gower, George gets hit on the side of the ear.
On the ear.
It's really bad.
On my ear and I can't hear. Babes, we know you can't hear. We get it.
You're just so negative. He's a child. He's 12 years old.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it for later.
You're a bad guy. Mr. Gower, George explains the mix-up. Like, he knows about his son, and he's like, I'm really sorry.
And then, Mr.
Gower, he's apologizing.
Yeah,
he's like,
oh my god,
I didn't realize.
For the rest of
and then
George's
they promise never to speak about it because George thought he was in the wrong, but
Mr. Gower's you can tell he looks after him because he buys him a suitcase.
Years later, with adult George, he talks about his travel plans.
Don't you think it's strange that Mr. Gower hasn't aged a day?
Most of them haven't. They didn't really. That's more of a Back to the Future thing where...
But Jimmy Stewart definitely aged.
Yeah, because they have
Speaking
a
of,
different kid.
you know who's the great...
What?
What if this didn't happen? Biff.
Biff.
Back to the Future 2. It's the movie
Biff,
about.
yeah. Back to the Future 2 and this movie, very similar.
Yeah.
Watch these two back to back, you'll realize it. So years later, yeah, you
George
talked about
going on a trip.
George always talks about traveling. That's
Yeah.
his whole
He's
thing.
getting his
He
sea legs.
wants
gets
an adventure.
Gets called Captain Cook.
Yeah. His little brother Harry is having a school dance. It's like the end of the high school, and invites George. George and his father discuss him returning to the building alone.
Yep. So he wants
George-
him to go to Europe. He wants him to have a great time, but he doesn't want to go to university. He wants him to come back and run the building.
George doesn't like he doesn't want to deal with like the nickels and dimes. He doesn't want that.
No, he doesn't.
He wants to do something with his life, something meaningful. He
that's
wants to
true.
get out there.
Yeah.
But he does say like how his dad, he's like, you're a great guy. Like he loves his dad, but he
Yeah.
can't be the one.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be the
I
one.
don't want to be tied down.
George
But
arrives
every decision that you make is different than that.
because it's in his nature. Can we discuss the movie?
Continue.
You keep going on the same points. Anyway, we're not even there yet. God, you don't have a great argument. George arrives at Harry's party.
Dance. Yep. Guess who he runs into?
He runs into old friends like Sam Rainwright
Yeah.
and Violet.
Who
George
Violet's always had a crush on.
Violet Bick, yeah. George agrees to dance with Mary,
Mary.
who's now all grown
Yeah.
up now.
He's doing the Charleston.
Yeah, they start dancing the Charleston, which is really funny to see. Like,
Yeah.
he's very much not a dancer. The pair,
This was filmed at the
Yeah.
Beverly Hills School. 'Cause
Yeah.
They had a dance floor above a pool.
a
Which was
prank
George
is
Bailey's idea.
a prank is played on the floor, and it opens up to reveal the swimming pool.
Because
and
a guy wanted to be with Mary. Yep.
George and Mary fall in. Then everyone jumps in after because it's so
Yeah.
much fun. The pair walk home in some gym clothes. Yeah.
And so you get the iconic number 3 jersey for George Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's wearing the
that's
jersey.
iconic, that jersey.
The two really hit it off, and
They do.
they even they throw rocks at the old like house. That's all
abandoned house,
the
yeah.
abandoned hotel, and
Mary's wearing a robe.
Mary absolutely adores this place, and
Yeah.
she throws a rock but won't say what she wished for.
The funny thing about that rock thing, so they got
Yeah.
like a sharpshooter to shoot the window, but they didn't need to because
She had a great aim. Donna Reed?
Donna Reed had played baseball at school.
See?
And hit the window first go.
Women, great aim.
Yeah.
George also says the line to Mary, "You want the moon? Just say the word, and I'll throw a lasso around it."
Lasso, yeah.
So cute.
But Mary loses her robe and ends up in the hydrangeas and the jaders are shaking. It's just so good.
It's so funny, but the fun doesn't last because sadly, his uncle finds George to tell him that his father had a stroke.
The evil Billy.
Flashes forward to months later after the death of his father. George has stayed to help the transition of the building and loan.
His trip on the boat to Europe.
Yep. And Potter wants to get rid of the establishment. He wants it gone.
Because what's happening is the Baileys have always been a thorn in Potter's side.
Because Potter owns the shops.
Owns the
He eventually
units.
owns something else.
No, he owns units.
Yeah.
He owns like slums basically, and he wants people to stay renting. But the Baileys, what they do is they give
loans to people.
$5,000 to make houses.
Yeah.
Really nice houses.
Yeah.
So, because the Baileys believe in you give someone a loan, they'll pay it back, and then that's how you make money.
And they also will give it to low income owners because they know that they'll make their payments eventually. It's not
Yeah.
just about
Because that's their only way of them getting a house.
yeah. And then he refuses to give out loans to low income owners. George stands up for his father
The meeting
and the
doesn't go
people.
well. It doesn't go well.
No, it's up to George to just start.
Because Potter remembers this meeting.
Yeah, George just stands up and he's just like, it's all about the little people.
this
They're
is where-
living and dying.
But this is where he had a chance to leave.
Yeah, so George tries to leave, but the condition to keep the building alone
but he
is
had
that
a
George
chance
to stay.
leave. So you can't complain
But-
about the decision you made.
I think you're thinking of I think you're incorrect on this because I think it's just such a normal thing for a person to make a decision.
But don't complain about it.
But he doesn't complain about
Yes,
it.
he does.
It's not until years later does he actually he regrets decisions,
yeah.
but he doesn't complain.
Yes, he
doesn't
does.
go he's not like that every day.
Yeah, he is. We've seen him the whole movie, and from this point on, he goes, "Why am I staying in this stupid town?
he doesn't.
Why am I in this house with the draft?" Like, it's just, it's such...
But everyone gets like that. Everyone makes these decisions.
I know, but
and
let's
choices.
not put him on the hero pedestal. He's such a sulk.
Yeah, well, he's a hero. Anyway, so he's a goat. He's the goat.
He's
anyway,
the goat.
So yeah. So what happens is he stays. 4 years later, Harry returns. Now Harry got to go to college with George's money.
Yeah, well, George gives him his money,
and
so don't complain about it.
Yeah, but the
deal was
that Harry would come back and take over. But Harry had a surprise. He has a new wife.
That is true.
And the wife's dad has a business deal that's really good for Harry to get in on the ground floor.
That is also true.
So George immediately is just in his head, oh well, I gotta let him go. Like he's like,
well, you don't have to, but anyway.
But even Harry's not like fighting. He goes, yeah, we should have talked about it, but he's not fighting it. It's obvious that Harry wasn't going to stay either.
Definitely, Harry should have stayed.
Put his foot down, but he doesn't because George is in his nature. And another thing about George is that it's his nature to take care of Harry because that's what his father would have wanted, and he loved his father. And he's like, he knows this is what he has to do.
This is important coming up.
So George goes through a walk through town and ends up finding little Mary's house.
You're missing.
Do you want me to talk by the big part?
No, you're missing a really important scene here. The mum says that Mary just got home.
Yeah.
And then he lets Uncle Billy to go because Uncle Billy is drunk as a skunk. He's walking down the street and you hear him run into pots and pans.
You really like to mention Uncle Billy.
I'll tell you
I
why
like
I'm
to
going to
say
mention that because what actually happened was off screen. Someone dropped something, and Thomas Mitchell was so quick. Don't worry about me, I'm fine. And it cracked Frank Capra up and Jimmy Stewart. So they kept it in the movie.
Wait, that's good.
Yeah. See?
Billy, you suck, but that's good.
Thomas Mitchell, very quick.
Yes.
So the mum
says Mary's in town. She's come back.
Is same mum as Miss Smith Goes Washington.
Yeah. Works. But he doesn't...
He's so sour in this scene.
Yeah, he's really sour. So he's frustrated. He eventually gets to Mary's house.
And she's just waiting for him to come over.
She's got luring him.
Yeah, she's got like the song siren on the record. She's got a picture. A cartoon.
George is frustrated while Mary is over the moon to see him.
Yeah.
After some tension.
Have you been anywhere? I've been to New York.
So
he's like,
for me, you're like, you hate George in the scene, particularly, because you're like, he's a sourpuss. Mary's phenomenal in the scene.
Great in the scene.
The thing with me is why I love George in the scene is that he doesn't want her to stay there.
Yeah, no.
She would be.
No, he thinks he's a wet blanket. He knows he's a wet blanket.
He doesn't want to weigh her down.
The only person that doesn't know he's a wet blanket is you. Even George knows he's a wet blanket.
Guys, you need to understand. This man is everything.
Keep going.
So, yes. After some tension, the two fight. They even get a call from Wayne White, Hee-Haw. He, talks about, some business on the ground. But the pair...
So, she goes from wanting him, and then she smashes the record.
Because he's not giving anything.
Jerk, smashes the record, goes to speak to Sam Rainwright, and he comes back in, and then from the Sam Rainwright call...
Because they get too close.
Sam Rainwright gives them both an opportunity to make money.
Yeah, and they don't listen because they're
in love.
Because they're in love, and also it's just a business deal, focusing on something else that isn't the town.
So
it's something...
George is smelling Mary's hair.
Yeah.
What does it smell like to turn him around? Because it turns him around.
It
must really smell
It's alluring, but he's allured by her. He's just like...
I'm just saying.
Mary's hair
he's so
in
good.
love. He's so in love
smells
with her.
Good.
Anyway, they do kiss. Time passes, and they get married. But before they go on their lovely
Well,
honeymoon.
They're talking up their honeymoon. They're going to go to New York. They're going to
They have all this cash.
They go to Hawaii. They have like all
This cash. The bank is closing, and it's due to some Great Depression, I hear. Some crisis has happened to hit the bank, and it's closed.
So there's a run on the bank.
And so what?
So it's a run of Potter's bank, and so he's guaranteed.
Potter has bought the banks to guarantee and that they'll open in a week. However, people need money. And so they go to the building loan to get their money back. However, the building loan had to pay their loan from the bank.
So they had to put their money in the bank, and because they're not going to get
the money out
of the bank for at least a week, they haven't got any money. Because why would you carry money? Because you have to bank it.
Yeah.
So they have these banking examiners, which will come back later.
Yes.
And so
it's very important.
It's against the law for them to carry that much cash on their hands, so they bank it like they're supposed to.
Yep.
And so Potter has, and so they've sort of said, "Oh, Potter, can you let us have our cash?" No, you can have it in a week. But
a crisis.
You can get your cash out 50 cents in the dollar.
Yes. So
no, I'm not going to do that.
The thing with the building and loan is that it needs to stay open for at least like the day.
Yeah.
To
kind of call
it.
Yeah.
George talks to the mob, and they just want their money. But Mary generously offers the wedding money, and George immediately jumps in.
So some people take all their money
and give everyone enough to survive the week.
So there's one lady that asked for $17.50. So in the script, it actually said $17, right?
But she goes $17.50.
But Frank Capra said to her, "I think $17.50 sounds funnier." So she says $17.50, and spontaneous Jimmy Stewart kisses
when he does that,
and then they keep that in the thing because Frank Capra
such
said
a good scene.
So good.
This is also like the really great scene of it's in Bill's house. Your money's in here.
Yeah, classic Simpsons episode.
It's great.
And then like the money marrying each other and putting it in the bank because there's only like $2 left.
But Mary left early. Mary sets up a surprise at the old Sycamore place, which is the house. The haunted house.
Bert and Ernie put it together.
Bert and Ernie help the police.
Great names.
The police.
Do you reckon Sesame Street's name their characters?
Bert and Ernie, I swear. Because the way these two act too.
In the research I did for this movie, it didn't say, but I think they did.
The way these two act and the way Bert and Ernie act is the exact same.
Yeah.
You should definitely. It's eerie. George and Mary. Have a great honeymoon, you know?
And now they're doing up the house.
But George and Mary, it then flashes a little bit forward. George and Mary are helping Mr. Martini and his family move into Bailey Park.
They see the chance. They see the chance that they've missed out on because Sam brought the factory there to the town, and the
under George's instruction.
Absolutely flourishing. Mm-hmm. It's flourishing. And you get Bailey Park. It's flourishing that much. Potter knows that he's losing the grip on the town. So he
arranges in a meeting.
He offers George a job where he offers him $20,000 a year.
He preys on George's insecurities because he's like, you can travel with your wife, buy her anything you need. Because he also...
They have a couple of kids now.
You know, it's becoming an important thing. Like George is like the weight of it.
Yeah.
But he won't stand for it because he knows once he goes under Potter's thumb, it's over. Like the town.
Well, Potter has only offered him a 3-year deal, and you know he's just going to kick him to the curb anyway. So the deal just didn't sync up, you know. And as like George being like
he also like
George being like the Lex Luthor of this town.
The Lex Luthor?
Yeah.
I feel like Potter's more of the Lex Luthor because the dude's
Potter's
taken over.
Okay.
Okay. He denies Miss Potter. He then returns home.
And quickly goes into World War II.
And Mary does have news for George that she is pregnant.
Yeah.
Time passes. They have 4 children. A war breaks out.
Heaps more people are getting places.
Harry even becomes a war hero.
Yep.
George.
But not only that, you got Bert and Ernie become war heroes.
They don't. Not to what Harry does. Harry becomes an actual.
Harry's a connection, but all of them. Yeah,
they all have achievements in the war.
Sam Raymond becomes really mega wealthy because he has the plastic factory. Works on planes.
Yeah. But George due to the loss of his hearing, had to stay.
Air warden.
Yeah, had to. He did
town.
multiple things like air warden and other stuff. Stay home and help the efforts at home. Which
Uncle Billy sold bonds. What a classic Billy job, you know?
yeah.
Selling bonds.
Then we finally get to kind of like what is the present day, which is the war is over.
Yep.
Harry's returning home for Christmas. George meets with the bank examiner. Uncle Billy's at the bank.
Yep.
Cashing in the money from the building and loan. Unknowingly loses the money.
Yeah,
after
mixes
talking
up
to Mr. Potter.
So he puts the envelope in Potter's newspaper.
Because he's trying to like ha ha ha.
Potter opens up the paper and goes, "Oh, that's the $8,000." Oh, and he sees
But
Billy.
he sees him, doesn't say anything.
But
he
sees Billy. Yeah,
it's the most evil thing I've ever seen.
The most.
It's the most evil thing.
Feedback that he ever got from viewers.
What was this?
Was that Mr. Potter never got his comeuppance?
Yeah, I guess because he's so hated.
Hated.
That is the worst.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst things because this is what this is like the domino effect. So the domino effect is that when Uncle Billy then Uncle Billy has to.
George has given Violet some money to leave town. It's a loan.
Okay, thank you.
Billy's come back to the bank.
Anyway.
Stupid Billy's got a crow on his shoulder.
Uncle Billy informs George
Billy,
he has lost the money. George is furious.
Where's the money, you silly old fool? And Billy has a squirrel on his shoulder.
Yeah.
God damn, Billy.
He returns home.
George
He's upset at everyone. He's frustrated. He's yelling at at the kids.
His younger son he's got him like, because he's crying. It's that iconic scene. And then he goes, "Excuse me." And he goes, "Excuse me for what?" And he goes, "Oh, I just burped." Like, that is some funny stuff. It's funny.
No, the way this whole family dynamic, it like makes a lot of sense. They all come home. They're all like trying to talk to him, and he's just like, no.
Zuzu.
And he goes to Zuzu. Zuzu's got a little bit of a cold.
Guess what? I found out what Zuzu means.
What does Zuzu mean?
Okay. So Zuzu, according to the actress that played Zuzu, Caroline Grimes, the name Zuzu comes from ginger snaps. The Zuzu ginger snaps. Because George makes a reference to Zuzu, my little ginger snap.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. That's cute.
You'll research that for people.
That is cute.
But
yeah, he
obviously George's favourite is Zuzu.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's not obvious, but a parent has his favorite.
Our dad's favorite is Kerry. Everyone knows that. You know,
we all know that. It's very obvious.
Kerry's like a word that you can't sound.
Kerry's like Zuzu, basically. It's the exact
Kerry's
same.
dad's little ginger snap, and and I just for those out there, the ginger snap is a real backstabbing little thing at the moment. So just be careful of ginger snaps.
He has a massive fight.
Teacher?
He yells at the teacher for letting Zuzu get a cold. Yeah. And the thing is,
the whole family. What a
great scene in this movie though. He's so mad. He's yelling at everyone. He starts destroying things. Yeah. And you just see Mary. Can we just talk? You see Mary, and she knows something's up. Yeah. She immediately.
Well, babes, it's not a bloody. It's
but.
It's not rocket
she notices it.
Not Sherlock. You can tell something's up. He's yelling at the kids.
Do you want to calm down? No, she notices it immediately when he gets home.
I'll tell you what I want to talk about.
What do you want to talk about?
He's moping. He needs to find $8,000. Go and ask people for some money.
Okay. I'm going to let you know something. And
another thing, babe. Another thing before you say. Let's. Why are you putting Billy in charge of money? That's the worst. You are a terrible man manager. If you put Billy in charge of money, you're out.
There's no one else really to help with the building.
But he could take the money to the bank himself.
No, it's Billy's job. He's doing his own things. He was with the bank examiner. You know what? You can't give Billy the job with the bank examiner.
Billy should just concentrate on looking after Crow and Scrooge.
And dogs. He has dogs in there too. No, in this, we were talking about Mary. Mary notices immediately something's up. And you say like, why isn't he trying to get the money from people?
Whoa.
He's a proud guy. He's not going to do that.
To Potter.
He's a proud.
So he's not that proud.
Yeah, because he goes to the one guy that's going to give him $8,000. No one else has that money. He doesn't want to.
Sam Wainwright. He's loaded.
He literally says he's not contactable because he's in Europe.
Yeah.
Do you not listen?
Babe, have you ever heard of Western Union?
Have you? What the hell? The movie plainly gives you the answers of why he doesn't do certain things.
Yeah, but his wife got a hold of him.
No, his wife with the town involved. We're not even up to that. Can you calm down for a second? Jeez. You're like so anti-George. It's disgusting. Anyway,
So he decides to get drunk.
Yeah, he goes to Mr. Potter for a loan.
Yep.
Mr. Potter dismisses him. He
Because,
says...
it all goes back to that meeting.
And he dismisses him by saying... because all he has to offer is his
Life
insurance policy,
Yep.
and you're better off. You're worth more dead than you are alive.
Yeah. But before that, he goes to...
But he goes to Martini's
drinks.
to drink, and
Gets punched out by the teacher's husband.
and he prays for help as well.
He does. And originally it was supposed to be the Lord's Prayer, but Capra thought
Makes more sense.
that it was too religious.
Yeah, which yeah.
Capra, undefeated.
He gets a split lip. He
Yep.
leaves. He leaves drinking. He leaves and he starts and he drives into a
Before
tree.
the martini,
Oh, you like to?
Jimmy Stewart, James,
Yep, James.
great drunk actor. We saw it in Philadelphia Story. He's great in this as well.
Yep.
He's a really good drunk actor.
He leaves. He's driving. He drives into a tree near the bridge.
Yep, great driving.
Clarence the angel watches George because he's about to contemplate jumping in.
Yeah.
So Clarence the
jumps in.
angel jumps in, and George,
Saves him.
it's his thing. He saves people.
Yeah.
He rescues him.
And if he doesn't save him, he'll probably die himself. So it's catch-22, really.
Okay.
Get rid of the great one.
Claiming he is, Clarence claims he's an angel, and
It
George,
freaked out the guy that was there.
yeah, George doesn't believe it. Like he's like, sure.
Yeah.
But George, when talking, he does like end up saying he wishes he was never born because like how's this gonna help him?
And then
Clarence
got a great idea.
Great idea.
Great idea, babes.
Makes it happen.
Yep, love it.
George can hear out of his ears. His split lip is fixed.
Yep.
And he's like, this is a bit weird, but the pair make their way back into town, which is now called Pottersville,
Yep.
by the way,
Yep.
which is a bit weird. Martini's is now called Nick's,
Yep.
and the bartender owns it now.
Yeah.
Clarence says that Clarence in the bar, they're talking. He still doesn't understand what's going on.
Yep.
Clarence says, the great thing of every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
Yeah.
Happens the scene. Mr. Gower ends up walking into the bar. He looks like a bum. He doesn't look like the
does.
Mr. Gower we know.
He does.
Turns out he went to jail, poisoning that kid
Yep.
all those years ago.
Yep.
George is like, this is a bit weird, and then he realizes like, oh, my belonging, like stuff I've lost, like my insurance policy is not here. The Zuzu's pedals are gone. Like everything's not here.
Zuzu, my ginger snap.
He then heads home through Pottersville. Like
Well,
he's trying to.
He says Harry died as well, and he goes, "That's a lie. Harry never died."
That doesn't come up yet. Thank you very much, good sir.
Well, I'm just going.
Okay, you're jumping ahead in the game. He heads home through Pottersville town. The town is like slums. It's like Vegas. Like there's like
it's like Biff's in
Biff's. Yes.
Back Beach too.
Building alone is just gone.
Yeah.
Coming home, the place was never lived in.
Yeah.
The Baileys never there.
Yeah.
Bert tries to arrest George. Clarence stops him. George makes it to his mother's house, who doesn't even know him. My favorite scene in all of film is right here.
Yeah, I like this scene as well because Billy's in an insane asylum. That's where it should be.
Yeah, well, no. I'm talking about the moment the camera is situated a little bit above and he walks straight up to it and his face turns into the camera and it's like that light bulb moment of like, this is real. Like, this is really happening
really
to me.
Acting. Yeah.
And then it's not just the acting, it's every bit of this is like, it's just one of those scenes that shook me.
Yeah.
And so the next moment, he's like, he goes to Bailey Park, which is still the cemetery.
Yeah.
And that's when he finds Harry's tombstone and he's dead. And Clarence is like, he's dead. And that's when that's a lie. He's a war hero. He said all those people on that transport died because he
James
wasn't.
Great James Stewart.
That's a lie.
Then he goes sees Mary, who's an old maid.
And he just needs to know where Mary was.
But Mary
Mary
said in this movie.
She said earlier that if she didn't marry George, she would become an old maid because she
George was the light of her life.
Yeah, she loved George.
And everyone,
has that person they love.
Yeah, because Eva Brown had her.
Yeah.
Eva Braun had her guy.
Okay. Whoa. I do not speak. I don't have any association with this guy on the second half of this podcast. He has gone down a dark path. He's pro Potter. We don't know this guy. Anyway.
No, I said Potter's misunderstood. I'm not pro Potter.
You pro Potter.
He did some evil stuff.
Sounds like it.
But you know who I'm deadly against in this movie?
Uncle Billy. Yeah, we're all deadly against him. That guy sucks. George races to the bridge, back to the bridge. Yeah. And prays.
Yeah.
He prays. He just wants to live again. He doesn't want to live in this life.
Yep.
And he's back. He's back alive. Bert finds...
But before that, terrible police work from Bert, just shooting randomly in the street. There's people everywhere. He's shooting at George. He's
the same guy that plays around with the taxi driver.
Yeah.
He's not the greatest.
My mouth's bleeding, Bert.
Bert does find George, and he's like, everyone's been looking for you. And he's just so happy. He just starts...
Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter. Happy New Year. You're going to have a great time in jail.
He runs through the streets yelling with joy.
Yeah.
He, the old, love you, Merry Christmas, you old wonderful Billy and Lord. It's one of the best scenes. He's like, he comes home. There are the people there to arrest him. He's like,
real?
He's like, that's great. He sees his kids. He's so happy.
Are you real? That's a great call. Are you real?
He doesn't care. He sees his family again. Mary surprises him.
George, it's a miracle.
Yeah, Mary comes home, surprises him. He's just happy to see her. Yeah. And she's like, everyone in town is tripping in.
Yeah, like even Annie comes in and goes, I'm saving money for my divorce, but I'm not even married. Here's the money.
It's
the guy that jepped him out of $222, gives him the $222
money back.
Even
the bank examiner and the guys just tear up the police report. And Harry comes in. Sam Wainwright also, they managed to get a telegram to him. He transferred money.
Yeah, Uncle Billy pulls his finger out and sends a telegram to Sam.
No, it actually was Mr. Gower who managed to get it.
Mr. Gower, it came good.
Mr. Gower.
And then
Harry
comes in.
And says a great line. He's like, to my brother, the richest man in town.
And then we get the bells, Hark the Angels Sing, and then Zuzu says,
teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Clarence, I'm glad you got wings.
And he goes in
the Tom Sawyer book.
Yeah, he goes, attaboy, Clarence.
Yeah, and there's a note in the Tom Sawyer book. Thanks.
A man is not poor if he has friends.
Yeah. Thanks for helping me out get my wings.
And I tell you, watching this movie,
thanks for the wings.
I cry every time.
Reasons 2?
Reason 2 is like one of the best feeling movies of all time.
Reasons not 2?
Have none. You have horrible opinions.
Uncle Billy. He's terrible.
I think a lot of people struggle with this movie because
of Uncle Billy.
The first, it's so hard.
It's a long way until they change.
So I find it so short.
No. It's a lot. It goes for 2 hours, boo. It's not short.
Does not feel like it.
But it's a long way before he actually shows him the thing. Normally, that happens a lot earlier in the movie.
Because we're used to watching in different movies where that just happens instantly.
Okay.
But another thing is that a lot of people can't handle how, again, how you're like, he's such a bad guy. He does things, he's an angry person.
He's such a wet blanket. He's just
Can I just say, the reason I think you're wrong in this sentiment of your dislike of George Bailey, do you know why?
Hannah, I'm playing it up for the podcast.
Oh, no.
I love this movie.
I would like to say, no, you like this movie, but his character, every Tom Hanks character is exactly
Tom
this.
Hanks his career on James Stewart.
This and You Got Mail, I'm like, that guy, same.
Because James Stewart was in the original You Got Mail.
Yeah.
The Shop Around the Corner. He was in the original.
Shop Around the Corner.
Seriously. No, my problem with George Bailey is he was a great guy, right?
You just don't like
but
that.
I just don't like, you can't complain for the decisions you make because you...
But it's human to do that.
Yeah, well, I don't like that.
You're like, if you choose that, don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah, don't be a hypocrite.
But I like it because it's so real.
Should this movie be on the list? Of course it should be. Should it be higher? Okay, Hen.
Yep.
It was, having a look at the last list,
100%,
it
I don't get it.
was number 11.
Yeah, put it back.
I think
Put it in top
I
10.
was very surprised it's actually down 9, actually.
Put it back. Put it up.
Yeah, especially when there's
I
many different movies that have
I
gone
will think
so high.
a lot
yeah.
of people, it's that thing of when something becomes really popular, a lot of people start
I
seeing
will
it
say,
with a different light.
having a look at the top 10,
It's really hard.
it's really hard to get in there.
It's really
The
hard.
top 10 is
And
unbelievable.
like there are movies there.
Are you going to knock out Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, I know, right? It's like,
You're going to knock out Vertigo?
oh my god, I do love it. Well, we get to talk about Jimmy Stewart again.
Yeah.
I do love Vertigo.
There's probably a movie that you would probably knock out.
Oh no,
Raging Bull at 4.
I'd knock out Raging Bull, and I'd knock out. I would knock down something that's in top 2. I would knock down something that's in top 2.
Godfather?
Oh no, is it top 3?
Yeah.
It's 3 now.
Yeah, 3. It's got Casablanca.
Yeah.
Okay, Hen, would you watch this movie again?
100%.
Would you buy it on Blu-ray?
Yes.
Well, we've got it on DVD. That's good enough, I suppose.
Oh,
Oh, no, it's good enough. It's black and white. No, get it on the best quality copy of all. Heather, what is the rating for this one?
all-time classic. This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
100%. It's an all-time classic.
It's one of my favourites.
On your Mount Rushmore of movies.
Yep.
That is it for today's show. Some controversial opinions there.
Yeah.
I don't think George Bailey is pure evil. I just think he is evil.
Yeah, he's just the bad guy.
Hannah, thank you for today. Tomorrow is movie news where we talk about all things and we preview Superman. That is my lovely co-host Hannah. Long live cinema. Don't forget, leave a comment below or get us on Pete and Hannah's Watchlist at gmail.com. Until we meet again, it's bye for now.
Bye.